Today I was going to show you what I call my food forest in the back along the fence line here. And the fence line is kind of a mess because the weeds from the other side of the fence are coming through. So I'm gonna have to figure out something to do about that. I'm sure that the neighbor, it's actually just a field behind our house, right? And there's the plum grove where the coyotes hang out. They just started, looks like, doing some disking of this wheat field, but I'm sure he probably wouldn't mind if I just mowed along the edge, because it's probably maybe like it's hard to see on here, but maybe like a 3-foot swath where the weeds just go crazy and then they come through the fence here, kind of make a mess. But it's not the end of the world, but something I'm gonna try to work on for next year. So this is a food forest. Food forest has food, as you might gather from the name of it, and the idea is that all the plants that you put in a food forest kind of are symbiotic. They work together. So everything is planted very intentionally, and I'm just so happy to see the food forest looking like something's really growing here now, because it was like just when they first planted everything's so small you couldn't even tell, but now things are really taken off. So I'm just going to go through some of these really quickly as I go along. I have a drip hose in here. So this first tree is a black locust, and it's a nitrogen fixing tree, and it can be used for firewood, and that's the idea. What we're going to do with that, you coppice it, which means you let it grow up and then you cut it low, and then it'll sprout out different branches, and then you let those grow. Of course, this is a very long process, but that's the idea over many years. Two things I really wanted to grow in my food forest was thyme and oregano, and I had trouble with both of them. Here's one thyme plant that's actually doing pretty well, but my oregano, I tried to grow oregano from seed, and man, it was just a total fail. Several times I tried growing it, nothing. There's a strawberry plant, it's putting out some runners. Chamomile, another chicory. I talked about that a little bit in my herb garden. Actually, here's some little chives down here. It's getting kind of crowded out. A comfrey plant is just going to town. It's taking over here. It's humongous. There was some alyssum by that. That's a pollinator. Comfrey is also a dynamic accumulator. I think that's what they call it, where it has a really deep, big taproot that goes deep into the ground. Then the idea is it's pulling up nutrients, then you can chop and drop. That's what it is. I was going to say slash and burn. That's not right. Chop and drop it. So you actually chop off some of the leaves and just lay them on the ground, and then those nutrients go back into the soil. This is a honeyberry bush. I'm super happy about the honeyberries. They produce really early, like in May, and it's like a blueberry, but they do really great in cold climates. You have to have two, so this is one of them, two I have. This is probably, I'm gonna guess, bee balm. Again, none of my bee balm has bloomed yet. It's a really nice anise or anise. It's really good for pollinators. It looks like it's fallen over, some of it. Let's see what else we have. Rhubarb. This is a pear tree. If I pan out, I think it's a pear tree. Yep, that's a pear tree. Strawberry plant again. More chives, chamomile, another anise, another rhubarb plant, more comfrey. So you kind of get the idea, and it kind of repeats itself down the way. I did this year, since I knew there was going to be extra space, since a lot of this hadn't filled in yet, go ahead and put some pumpkins in. I think this is just a decorative, like Jack B. Little type of pumpkin. I don't really even see any pumpkins on it yet, so that won't always be there. I tried to grow some seaborn, it's called. It's a little bush. It's a twig. It's hard to see it. There it is. You need a male and a female of this. Neither one took off, so I'm gonna have to contact the company about that. I paid a lot of money for them. Some weeds. Here's some oregano that actually did well. So we got one oregano. Yay! He's going to town. There's some yarrow underneath that comfrey, hasn't yet flowered. This is a cherry tree that's doing very poorly. The voles have damaged its roots, and so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that. I might just cut it back and try to let it grow again. I'm not sure. Some more chives. Well, these look different now, don't they? Little white flowers. I'm not used to seeing that on a chive. Okay. Chicory. That's the first I noticed that. A little, maybe that's a little beet balm in there. It's not doing so well. More comfrey. Here is a currant bush. I think this is a red currant. It didn't actually have currants this year. I think at the beginning of the season, I wasn't so great with the watering system, but I think I've figured it out now. So I think it was kind of struggling, and that's one reason it didn't produce anything. More rhubarb. There's another black locust tree. Strawberries, yarrow, chives. Here's some actual thyme that's starting to flower. That's another one that's doing pretty good. This is a white currant, and it did have berries. I didn't pick them this year. I'm just looking what else we have here. There's a little tiny pear tree, but it's taken off finally. It's been a little while in the making. More chives, chicory. Here's the other honeyberry. Looks a tag still on. So here's a little picture of what they look like. And they taste like a blueberry. And they have fruit like in May, way before everything else. So that's pretty exciting. Oh look! This is a chicory, and looks like it's putting on a flower stalk. So we might get some flowers from these things after all. Behind that, I did some more, put some more, something just to cover the ground area, basically. So this is a pumpkin. It's supposed to be a big pumpkin, like for jack-o'-lanterns and stuff, but they did okay, but I didn't get any. Oh, there's a nice size one. Not really any tall ones, but I'll take it. We just threw it out here for extra. And then over here, it doesn't have any fruit yet, but this is a Uri squash. It's like a little round red one, kind of a teardrop shape. It's cute. I bought a milkweed at the native plant sale. They're really invasive, so that's why I put it back here by the fence. But this one, he's kind of struggling. We'll see if he makes it or not. Let's see, another cherry tree. This one's doing much better. More comfrey. Oh shoot, looks like a thyme, something died. More chives, chicory. There's another thyme. There's a thyme that's doing pretty good. It's a comfrey would get out of the way. That's good. I did find a couple of oregano. This one here is one of them. Growing as volunteers and one in like my flower bed out front. It was kind of a really odd place. I think it must have been some, I don't know. Anyway, so I did transplant a couple of, and so I'm not sure if they're going to make it through the winter. If we have a mild fall, he might get big enough to make it. More chamomile. There's a nice looking thyme. That's something I bought at the native plant sale. Strawberry, and there's another plant, another black locust down here. The alyssum, it's a pollinator. Chicory, and this is a red, white, black currant, I believe. And then they had this, let's go around this side. A clover was just growing in there, so I love clover, right? It's nitrogen fixing, so I just let it go, and it's just taken over, so I thought that was pretty cool. Some more chamomile, and then at the very end here I have another currant bush that I bought at the plant sale. I can't remember. It's like the forest group has the plants, and I can't remember what kind this one is. Let's see, golden currant. Okay, it looks pretty good. I mean, this is really strong. So that's it. That is the food forest. Look at it all along this fence line. I would love to have this type of food forest along all my fence line, all the way up here. This goes beyond that, and then down this low area. It floods in the winter, you know, when the snow melts and stuff. So probably couldn't do much in this corner, but then starting up along that fence line, going all the way up there along the dairy. But you know, it's a lot to get it established. I am going to put the wood chips on here. That's going to be pretty much my next project, moving the wood chips in here, and because some of this grass is starting to come back, which I assume the grass will come back anyway, but for now I just want to get the plants well established. But I think I've accomplished that. So that's it. That's the food forest. I just thought we just had our first rain, so I thought I would get out here and do a video while everything was nice and green still.